Okay. So two on the right side and one on the left side. And this is the anorectal I was talking about. And the approximate length of rectum is 15 centimeters and it is divided into three parts which are almost equal. So the lower one third is entirely below the peritoneal reflection. And we discussed about Denon-Villiers fascia anteriorly and Waldeyer's fascia posteriorly, and the importance of these fascia in the so-called total mesorectal excision for carcinoma of the rectum. So this is the Waldeyer's fascia, and this is the Denon-Villiers fascia, which have to be removed in toto whenever we are removing the rectum and anal canal. So the blood supply, already we discussed, that is superior rectal artery, which is a continuation of inferior mesenteric artery. Mainly, we also have middle and inferior rectal arteries, and the lymphatic drainage is upwards. That is very, very important. That's why at the origin of inferior mesenteric artery, we have to ligate whenever we resect rectum. Symptoms, already yesterday also you might have written about the symptoms of rectal disease. So bleeding per rectum is the commonest. Then you have got altered bowel movements, mucus discharge, tenesmus, prolapse, and proctalgia. So the various examination armamentarium or inspection, digital examination, proctoscopy, and sigmoidoscopy. So this is the sigmoidoscope, and this is how we do per rectal examination. Injuries, of course, mainly colostomy is very, very important in injuries. Temporary diversion colostomy is needed for the healing of the wounds and also to prevent infections. Prolapse, again mucosal, for which we can just digital reposition or injections, and for adults again bands can be used, whereas full thickness it is more than 4 centimeters. So this is the example of full thickness, and the treatment is either Thier's operation in elderly or Delarme's operation, which are perineal approach, whereas abdominal for young around middle age individuals, where the rectum is fixed to its normal position by what is called as abdominal rectopexy, which can be done by laparoscopy also. So this is Thier's stitch around the anal canal, which only it allows only tightly this index finger. Then this is Delarme's operation, where mucosa is removed, and then there is this stitching of this musculature of the rectum, so that it is when it is tied, there will be a concertina effect, and this is the mesh which is placed to prevent the descending down of the rectum. So proctitis, all causes are there: inflammatory bowel disease, radiation, infections, so-called strawberry lesion due to the spirochetes and Bacillus falciformis, and polyps, which are important. Already I talked about pedunculated, sessile, and flat, and tubular villus. So the potential to become malignant is there for sessile and villus and size is more than 1 centimeter. So always we should investigate and then exclude malignancy from these so-called polyps, either by EMR or by transanal endoscopic microsurgery. So they will pass this endoscopic resection endoscope through the anal canal and then do the surgery. This can be done even for early stages of carcinoma of the rectum. So tubular as the most common, whereas villus is the one that is more prone for malignancy, and it has also got this problem of excessive mucous discharge containing potassium. So there may be electrolyte imbalance. So familial adenomatous polyposis, already we discussed about FAP, that is due to APC gene. And juvenile polyp, so this is, that is strawberry inflammation, whereas this is cherry. So two types of fruits you have to remember in rectum. So it can cause bleeding and other problems. So benign rectal lesions or so because of ectopic endometrial tissue, there may be endometrioma in the rectum or hemangioma. And the other day we discussed about gist of the stomach, which is common in the stomach. 50% of gist are common in stomach, whereas it is also fairly frequently seen in rectum. So the malignant potential of gist is dependent on the mitotic rate, which should be more than 10 per high power field. And then the size of the tumor also very important, anything more than 5 centimeters. So then neuroendocrine tumors, carcinoid is also common in addition to appendix. It is also seen in rectum. So now let us go to carcinoma of the rectum, which is fairly common, and in the West it is second commonest after lung, whereas in India it is about fourth common. And the death also, it is commoner due to rectum after lung, stomach and liver. This is the fourth common. Of course, these are all Western figures. So in colorectal carcinoma, this is the most frequently affected part. That means in the entire large bowel and rectum, incidence of carcinoma is commonest in rectum. So what are the risk factors? Diet. Already we discussed more non-vegetarian diet, particularly red meat. This is fairly common. Obesity is another risk factor. Smoking, everywhere universally this is the risk factor. Old age, of course. Then lack of physical exercise. These are all will lead to obesity, of course. So genetic predisposition is also there. So there is what is called as hereditary non-polyposis colorectal cancer, HNPCC, or the so-called Lynch syndrome, in which carcinoma of the rectum is fairly frequent. So is FAP also, that is familial adenomatous polyposis, wherein in FAP we will do prophylactic colectomy also. Then inflammatory bowel disease, particularly this ulcerative colitis. So apart from this, there is what is called as adenoma carcinoma sequence. It is a natural course for an adenoma, though benign to start with, to progress from pre-malignant to malignancy. So this is in stomach. Already I told you about this adenoma carcinoma sequence. The so-called, who is the person who has proposed this theory? from benign to malignancy in stomach? Can you recollect? Of course, it's a easy question, but you can remember. Not able to know? Okay. Yeah. No, no, no. It's not medicine. It is. Yeah. So it is Korea who has proposed this idea that malignancy will start as adenoma. But that is in stomach, holds good for colon and rectum also. Then how does it spread? All the modes are there available, but what is important is local spread. So the local spread, it can spread circumferentially. It may start on the right side and reach left side, and the whole circumference of the rectum can be usually 1/4 will be involved in 6 months, whereas for 100% to entire rectum will be, so let us say the 1/4 will be in 6 months, but the whole rectum takes only 18 months. So in 18 months, entire rectal circumference is involved, and then there may be stenosis. Then similarly, radially also it will spread. So it will start in mucosa, then submucosa, muscularis, and the rectal fascia. So like this, radially also it will spread. And depending upon the layer, we will say T1, T2, T3, T4 like that. So initially this radial spread is stopped by this mesorectal fascia. So the anteriorly the D non-Villiers and posteriorly the Wild-Ayers fascia will stop it for some time. But even after that, it will reach anteriorly in males, prostate mainly, and bladder also, whereas in females, vagina and uterus. Laterally, there are ureters which can be affected, and posteriorly, if it has reached sacrum, means it is almost a terminal case. So then lymphatic, of course, as I told you, it is mainly upwards, and so as up as the origin of the inferior mesenteric artery. Then it can also spread by bloodstream, that is to liver, lungs, adrenals, and brain. And it can also, once it has breached the mesorectal fascia, already I have shown you today also this. So once it has breached this or this, it can affect the local peritoneum. Okay. So that is about peritoneal, particularly high-lying carcinomas, that is upper 1/3, is very much prone for peritoneal dissemination. So these are the 4 modes which you have to think of: local, lymphatic, arterial, that is a bloodstream, that is venous, and peritoneal. Then you have the staging. Staging, though there are other like Astler, Kohler, and TNM, we still follow Dukes also. Easy to remember. That is, if it is limited to rectal wall, it is A, Duke's A stage. That means even T3 is also Dukes A only. Whereas B means extends to extrarectal tissue. That is the prostate, vagina, all those things. So, but still without lymph nodes. So that means it has gone to T4. So T4 it has gone, but still it is Dukes B only. Whereas once lymph nodes are affected, it is Dukes C. So the relative incidences are, it is very rare for us to detect in Dukes A stage, that is 15% only. Whereas Dukes B, it is only 35%. Usually half of the carcinoma rectum we see once there are spreads in the lymph nodes, regional lymph nodes. So the local pararectal lymph nodes, it is C1, whereas just like N1, whereas C2 is along the vessels and then into the even para-aortic lymph nodes also. So Dukes has not proposed this D, but it is customary to describe Dukes D, the metastasis, as Dukes D. So this is in pictorial form. See here, it has not penetrated the rectal wall. It is limited to rectal wall. So this is Dukes A, whereas it has penetrated and gone into the extrarectal tissue. This is B, whereas it has gone to the lymph nodes also. So that is C. Okay. So what is the common histology? 90 to 95, it is adenocarcinoma only. Of course, there may be grading like well differentiated, moderately, and poorly differentiated. Who has proposed this well, moderate grading of differentiation? Who has proposed? I think I have asked this question earlier. Nobody? This in pathology you might have heard, but I don't know. Already pathology long back we have learned, isn't it? So it is Broders grading. So just like engineering, the semester system has brought you to the stage of forgetting the earlier subjects. Okay. So what are the poor prognostic factors? Once there is vascular perineural invasion, that is poor prognosis. Similarly, the margin is infiltrating. That means you have not resected it. That means there is positive margin. Then mucoid carcinoma, particularly poor prognosis, signet-ring cells will be there. So that's why it is also called a signet-ring carcinoma. And those which spread early also carry poor prognosis. So particularly you have to remember about invasion and metastasis. So what are the clinical features of carcinoma of the rectum? Of course, age is above 55, though more common in males, females also not uncommon. And just like carcinoma of stomach, early symptoms are quite insignificant. Usually the patient tend to neglect. I know two doctors, two specialists who suffered with carcinoma rectum, and then ultimately they need to be operated, extensive operation. So when doctors are not immune, What about ordinary lay persons? So, patient will delay 6 months. Of course, earliest is bleeding. But usually this bleeding will be confused with those of piles. And because more so it is painless, that's why the patient will tend to neglect this bleeding, use all sorts of over-the-counter medicines, or may go to a quack who will tie some threads around this anal canal, thinking that it is hemorrhoids. But ultimately it will be a delayed case of carcinoma of the rectum. We have also discussed about tenesmus. Another peculiar symptom is what is called as spurious diarrhea. What is this? This is patient because of block there. So there is entire, this rectum is blocked with malignancy, and the fecal matter is irritating. Patient has a sense to defecate, but he is unable because of stenosis. Instead, because of irritation here, there will be mucus discharge. So, the patient will be passing only mucus rather than or diluted fecal matter, liquid fecal matter rather than actual solid stools. So that is called as spurious diarrhea, and to it there will be blood staining. So that's why it is called as bloody slime. So this is very typical of carcinoma of the rectum, of course, late stage. Then similarly, there will be what is called as early morning bloody diarrhea, because the pent up stools will be ultimately discharged as a early morning bloody diarrhea. And prior to that, there will be constipation. So, constipation, diarrhea. This is the cycle they will be undergoing, carcinoma rectum patients. And pain is late, that's why patient will be coming late. So that is mainly due to obstruction. So once there is weight loss, means it is already late. It is due to secondaries in the liver. Weight loss, anorexia, if the patient complains, that is very late stage. Compared to stomach, it is still later. In stomach, though the anorexia, weight loss are there, still the patient is salvageable, though, whereas in carcinoma rectum it is late, very late. So what is the differential diagnosis? Whatever may be these conditions, our first diagnosis with these symptoms should be carcinoma of the rectum only. These are the diagnoses which are to be considered after you have excluded carcinoma by biopsy. So it may be inflammatory IBD stricture, it may be amoebiasis. So the other day I was telling you it is commonest at sigmoidorectal junction amoebiasis. All of you were thinking that it is in the cecum. Then endometrioma, already I discussed just today, carcinoid. Solitary rectal ulcer is a benign ulcer commonly seen in females on the posterior aspect, and this has also got some psychological barriers also. So then benign adenoma, you cannot just leave it thinking that it is a benign adenoma. You have to prove that it is malignant, not malignant. Okay. So these are mainly after excluding carcinoma of the rectum. So first you have to rule out carcinoma of the rectum. Whenever there is any history of bleeding per rectum in a old person, first exclude carcinoma. So I frequently tell you, again today also I am telling you, if you don't put your finger in the rectum, you will be putting your foot in it. Okay. Then what are the investigations? First thing is abdominal examination, because there may be subacute obstruction or there may be liver metastasis. By the time there is ascites means already it is very late. Okay. So abdominal examination is first. Then rectal examination, usually the growth is palpable within 7 to 8 centimeters. That's why you need to have what are called as what fingers surgeon should have? Surgeon should have 3 characters. I frequently discuss about this. So what are the characters? 3 characters a surgeon should have. At least 5 from your batch will be becoming surgeon. So whether you see whether you are having those features or not. Brave as a lion, good, very good. 1 4 3, good. Eyes of an eagle, okay. Hawk's eye, another person says hawk's eye. Yeah. 4 1, lady's hand. Why you want to put your hand in the rectum? No, it is finger. Okay. 3 9, yeah, lady's fingers. So these are the 3 ones. One is lady's finger, lion's heart, because frequently we will encounter at least 1 or 2 of you might have fallen down in the theater after seeing the blood. So that should not be the thing for a surgeon. So you should be having lion's heart. However bleeding is there, you should be strong and then try to control it rather than fearing for the bleeding. Okay. Similarly, eagle's eyes, whatever. So these are the 3 criteria. Of course, there are still some more, even scorpion, all those things, but forget about them. These 3 you have to remember. So ladies' fingers are usually longer. So they can easily reach. Nowadays, lady surgeons are increasing. So our batch also I expect at least 2 to 3 lady surgeons. So 7 to 8 centimeters, there can be growth. It is like a malignancy, irregular, hot, and there will be naturally depression, raised everted edges like malignancy. And you have to note whether it is mobile. In case it is not penetrating the all walls, it will be mobile. Sometimes it is tethered, or rarely it may be fixed to the pelvic wall. So what you have to see is this distance is very critical. How much distance is there from the lower margin of the ulcer to the sphincter? So this sphincter is there. So the anorectal sphincter is there. How much distance it is having from the anorectal ring? Okay. So suppose this is the lower margin of the ulcer. How much is the distance? Because for you to resect the tumor without a positive margin, you should go down, isn't it, at least 2 centimeters. And another 2 centimeters. So total it should be 4 centimeters for ideal resection. Okay. So that is important. Lower margin from the top of the sphincter is important. So what are the investigations? Yes. 9-4. You want to say something? Yeah, you can message me 9-4 if you have anything, suggestion or query. Yeah. So after proctoscopy, you should not leave there. You should do colonoscopy because higher above there may be a growth. That is called as synchronous tumor. So synchronous tumor, what is the percentage? It is about 5 to 10%. So you should invariably do, though it is rectum, you should do entire colon, colonoscopy. Of course, if you cannot do colonoscopy because of stenosing lesions, then you can do CT. This is called as virtual colonoscopy or colonography. Previously, we used to rely on barium enema. Nowadays, it is not very much done. Of course, contrast CT will almost show you barium enema pictures. You may have to do CT abdomen, pelvis, CT chest even sometimes, and MRI pelvis is another very useful mainly for T stage. And again for T stage, there is what is called as endoluminal ultrasound, that is transrectal ultrasound, TRUS. So nowadays more frequently used this one. Then ultimately PET CT is also done. Only thing I have not written here is ultrasound of the abdomen. So first we will do ultrasound, then if necessary CT. Okay. So you can remember TRUS. So this is MRI. So you can easily see the lesions here. See, entire lesion on the left side. Similarly, this is transrectal ultrasound where you are seeing the lesion on the right side. Okay. So then what is the treatment? Treatment, it is multidisciplinary. Nowadays, unless you say this, multidisciplinary, people will not agree. So what is this multidisciplinary team? Surgeons, radiologists, because they should tell you the extent of the tumor. Oncologists, they will explore the possibility of treating it conservatively before you do surgery. So that is the so-called neoadjuvant treatment. Then pathologists should tell you what is the exact pathology. Is it spreading? Is it what is its grading? All those things. And nurses also specialty. Nurse means here not only females, even male nurses are also there. So don't confuse with this term specialty nurses. So these are technical people. What is the use of these specialty nurses? Because sometimes we may have to do colostomy. So the colostomy specialists are also there. They will give counseling. First, before surgery, they will come and then counsel the patient, prepare the patient for colostomy, and then they will, as the ideal site for colostomy also, they will decide by talking with the patient. So, and post colostomy care also very important, that will be given by these people. So the so-called stoma specialists or colostomy care specialists. But whatever it is, unless the patient is fit, you cannot proceed with extensive resections. So depending upon a frail old patient, you cannot do extensive surgery. The patient may be better off with colostomy and then giving local treatment to the tumor. So extent of the tumor is also important. What is the stage of the tumor? So, but of course, as I tell you, in the GIT, as from above, that is from proximal to distal, the prognosis is good or bad. From proximal to distal, what is the prognosis? So that means which carcinoma has got good prognosis? Is it esophagus or is it rectum? Is it stomach or is it colon? Like that. Yes? Anybody? So as we go distally, the prognosis will improve. Okay. So you know of entire GIT, worst prognosis is esophagus. So whereas bad prognosis is stomach. Not bad is colon. Good is, of course, I cannot say good, but fairly better is for rectum. So like that. So as you go distally, prognosis improves. So what are the principles of surgical treatment of carcinoma rectum? So you should remember this term, that is TME, total mesorectal excision. So which contains radical excision of this rectum, mesorectum. In stomach, I told you, stomach with growth, then the omentum, lymph nodes. Here also total rectum along with mesorectum and lymph nodes. So high proximal ligation of inferior mesenteric lymphovascular pedicle. So you have to ligate as far above as possible, almost at the insertion of inferior mesenteric vein into the splenic vein or the origin of superior inferior mesenteric artery from aorta. So almost at L3 level. So for early T1 means it has just penetrated into the submucosa. That's all. So for that, transanal endoscopic microsurgery that can be done. Whereas for locally advanced, what you can do is first give a course of neoadjuvant chemoradiotherapy. Here, a term you have to remember. It's simply not either radiotherapy or chemotherapy alone. It is chemotherapy. So you have to give chemotherapy for 6 weeks. Then you will achieve what is called as downstaging. Earlier T3 lesion may go to T2 lesion. That means you are sterilizing the tumor from cancer cells. So downstage it. So watch and wait management. So you have to be patient here. Then after again 1 month you can do surgery. So whereas those who are unfit, I already told you, elderly, frail individuals with comorbid conditions, they may not withstand the surgery. So for them, local radiotherapy, the so-called brachytherapy can be given. And if, because I told you the prognosis is good, liver metastasis also, the other day we were discussing about liver secondaries. So metastatectomy can also be done. Whereas for growths which are having extensive metastasis, you can do either palliative resection or to prevent intestinal obstruction, endoluminal stenting. The so-called, already I told you about, in esophagus I told you. What are they? So what are those stents called as? Esophagus, I told you. Anybody remembering esophagus? That is before lockdown. So, but the carcinoma esophagus I took only after lockdown, that too after so many classes by my colleagues. So what are those stents called as? Hmm? So this is the problem. Yeah, good. 2-6. Not SEPS. SEPS is different. SEPS, where do you, since you have committed SEPS, where do you use this term SEPS? 2-6. You tell me. But your answer is correct. Yeah, 4-1 also. SEMS. So self-expanding metallic stents. Yeah, 5-4 is also correct. So SEMS are the one which we can use as endoluminal stenting, and you can even give teleradiotherapy, that is external beam radiotherapy by LINAC you can give. So all modalities of treatment are there here in this slide. So local resection is for T2 stage, that is TME, total mesorectal excision. Then unfit for surgery, go for brachytherapy. Whereas early T1 lesions, you go for TEMS, that is, don't confuse TME SEMS with TEMS. TEMS is transanal endoscopic microsurgery. Then if it is locally advanced T3, T4, you can give neoadjuvant chemoradiotherapy. Then liver, you can even do metastatectomy if the prognosis is good. So pre-operatively, already I told you about counseling, about sighting of stomas. These patients are anemic, so you have to correct anemia. Then blood transfusion, you have to be ready. So, but usually we should try to finish up the case without blood transfusion, because there is a study where giving blood is poor prognosis. That means the surgery is so extensive or so blunt that the prognosis will be decreased if you give blood. Bowel preparation, previously we used to stress very much about bowel preparation, but nowadays limited preparation of the bowel is important by giving enemas, and giving a prophylactic antibiotic is also important, of which in addition to antibiotic we need to give metronidazole also for anaerobic organisms. So because this being a surgery of some duration, patient should be prevented from deep vein thrombosis by giving a prophylaxis of low molecular weight heparins. So what is the surgery? Anterior resection. What is this anterior resection? It is a sphincter saving surgery where the tumor lower margin is, as already drawn earlier, more than 2 centimeters from the anorectal junction or anorectal ring, about 2 centimeters. And for you to get good margin, you have to remove minimum 2 centimeters. So total 4 centimeters distance should be there. Okay. Then in upper 1/3, usually it is not a problem. Whereas for middle and lower 1/3 rectum, it need to be low or ultra low anterior resection where you are compromising. So you cannot suture back this lower end of the colon and then the upper end of the anal canal. So you need to use staplers in this situation. Ultra low, you cannot sew it. So you need to use staplers here for anastomosis of the colon and the upper part of the anal canal. Okay. Then sometimes you may need to do defunctioning stoma because if you expect anastomotic leak or infection, you can do a defunctioning stoma. So then it is nowadays more frequently being done with laparoscopy and even robotic assistance. So it is not without problems. There is what is called as anterior resection syndrome, where there is urgency because sphincter is malfunctioning here. You have compromised with the sphincter, so there is defecatory urgency, incontinence even, and sometimes incomplete evacuation. So this is called as anterior resection syndrome. If the growth is lower down, that is lower 1/3, then you need to do abdominoperineal excision. That means you will remove the rectum and anus even, because you cannot achieve sphincter saving. Then if you cannot achieve sphincter saving, there is no point in anastomosing colon and anal canal. So coloanal anastomosis will lead to complete incontinence. The patient is better off with a colostomy rather than a disturbing incontinence. So where you will do, you will remove the rectum and anal canal, and then a permanent colostomy is made. So you all know about Hartmann's operation, where first you will defunct the canal for in preparation to excision surgery. Once you are preparing or you are giving radio chemotherapy, then you can do Hartmann's operation, where you will do colostomy and then close the upper end of the rectum. So these are the operations that are available. Frequently we tend to do anterior resection. So wherein we will be removing the rectum up to 2 centimeters above the anorectal junction, and then suture that lower end with the lower end of the upper end of the anorectal complex to the colon. That is called as anterior resection. If you are not keeping this much margin, means then it may be either low or ultra low. Even people are doing not total 4 centimeters, only 2 centimeters. So that is also being practiced. So that is ultra low. That you can only do with staplers, anastomosis. So abdominoperineal resection, you all should remember, that is removal of the entire rectum and anal canal. So the patient cannot pass through natural passage, only permanent colostomy. So Hartmann's operation is also there. So this is what I was talking about. See, only this much of the anal canal is left behind, and then this is the lower end of the colon. So they are doing with the anastomosis with the stapler. So this is total mesorectal excision, where see, you can see here the growth, and the tissue that is removed is up to presacrum. So, and anteriorly superficial to the prostate and bladder. So like that, this is called as TME. Okay. Then this is the Da Vinci robotic system, where this is the surgeon's console. Surgeon will sit here and then operate the buttons here, whereas this is the patient cart, where all these scopes and trocars are passed into the patient and then operated from a distance. So this is the Da Vinci robotic surgical system. Okay, so that's about the carcinoma of the rectum. So I will just pictorially draw what I have so far told about the so the left colon sigmoid, and then so suppose growth is here, from here. So this is the sphincter, let us say. So this entire part is removed, and then so now this is anastomosed with this part. Okay, so this is the resected specimen with growth here. Okay, so distally there should be minimum 2 centimeters if possible. That's good. Proximally you can go up to sigmoidorectal junction, or even above also, no problem. Approximately, of course, you will anyhow keep 5 to 10 centimeters. So this is so-called anterior resection. Okay. Some people, as a protective, they will do what is called as colostomy. So protective colostomy, they will be doing. It's a temporary colostomy. They will attach it back there. So this is anterior resection. Whereas what is AP resection? So AP, abdominoperineal resection. So here it's a permanent colostomy. The entire thing is removed. So there is no anal canal here. So this is closed. And a permanent colostomy. This entire part is removed. So entire anal canal is also removed. So that is the AP resection. Already I have shown you the Hartmann's operation, where the rectum is closed above and then colostomy. So that treatment can be given here, and depending upon the situation, you can either do anti-resection or AP resection. So that's about carcinoma of the rectum. Though it is not important academically, you should know these terms and be thorough to whenever you see a growth in the rectum, you are supposed to refer it to the specialist, right? So that's about this case. Now, any doubts you have today, you can discuss till we have some time. So tomorrow, you all know that you are having exam on the portion so far up to 21st. You are having this, both short notes and brief notes will be given in addition to MCQ. So hope you are all preparing well for that exam. Okay, thank you.